Hey everyone, welcome back to the Learn Scriptcase from Scratch video course. We're starting part 5 actually in this video, looking at the security module in this video. So this is part 5. As you can see in the course outline, we're looking at security and logging. So let's go ahead and look at what the security module can do for us. So as you know, we're using Global Music Supply as a fictional case study to kind of guide our development throughout this course. And so we're looking at setting up security. So we know we need security. It's a cloud application that we're building, so we don't want anyone who happens to type in the URL to be able to have access to our inventory system. But you also want to be able to control access within your organization, within the company. Certain people should not have control over the inventory management things and just want access to certain things or just want view access. So we want to make sure that we can control that. And so we are going to do that with the security module. We can do user security, group security, and application level security inside of the security module. And you've decided to do group level security. This allows you to have multiple users that have the same set of permissions. You can easily assign those users to the group and they'll have all the same permissions. So this will help us expand as a company too as you add new users. So you're going to use groups. And you've decided to set up 3 main groups. So here they are. You have inventory admin, which is going to have access to the main inventory applications, and also the support applications, such as genre and media and category that we've been building, as well as the sales calendar so that our inventory admin people know when there's going to be a big sale coming up and might have more stock moving out of the warehouse. So if that's for Jay, who is our inventory manager, who's our warehouse manager, then you're going to have the sales group. So that's for our sales teams. They need access to the inventory grid so they can see what is in stock, but then they also need access to the sales applications to update to input their sales. But you don't want to give them access to the forms for the inventory applications since you don't want them having access directly to the inventory data. And then lastly, you have the management group, which is for the CEO and other upper management people. So you want access to the main inventory applications so that they can update inventory on hand if they need to. You want access to the sales calendar, but then also reports so they can generate reports and see what is in stock and what's been moving in and out. So those are our security groups. Now let's go over the script case and set up the security module, get familiar with it, and also start adding our users to our groups. Okay, so here we are in the development environment. We've got all of our applications built. We're going to go up to modules and then security. Go ahead and click on that. And if you can create profiles, but we're going to create a new one here. And if you're starting from scratch, you won't have that. Then we can select our type, user application group, or LDAP if you want to connect it to an LDAP server. But we're going to do group level security, as I mentioned. So go ahead and select group and then go select next. Then we need to choose our database connection for the database tables that are going to control this. And Scriptcase is automatically going to create the tables, but you can use existing tables and map them to the fields needed if you want. But we're going to create them and put the prefix in for that, which is going to be SEC_. It created them there. You can see the SQL if you want, but we're going to go ahead and close that. And so here's all the database tables, and if you created your own, you can map them here. We're going to go ahead and click next. And then we can set some settings for security. So first is going to be the prefix for the security applications. We're going to set encryption on the password. We're going to do MD5 encryption. And we're going to enable security on all the applications here. We're not going to use CAPTCHA, not going to use logging for now. And we're going to set our menu application to the menu we created. Here's the settings for the password. We're going to leave those to the default unless you want to change them. For retrieving passwords, here's the settings for those. We could change those. New users, what we do with new users here. So we're just going to allow them to create a new user and then put them in a default group for now that has no permissions. And then the admin can go and change those. Email settings, so sending emails from security, you can put in your SMTP credentials here. And then login template. So this is the template for the control login application. And we're going to use some ones that are existing here. So I'm going to click on external libraries to enable them. You can also go to tools, external libraries. We're going to enable the samples library, which comes built in the script case. So we click use library, and then we need to scroll down to the bottom and click save the project libraries here, just like so. Then we can go back to security and reload this drop down here and select a login template. So there's 4 of them here. We're going to do login 3. In the next video, we'll look at customizing that. But for now, let's go ahead and click next. We're going to set our admin credentials here. This is going to be our administrator that has complete control over all the applications and the security system. So this is going to be you. Make sure that's all secure. Go ahead and click next on that. And then yes, we do want to include all the applications in the security system. That's going to turn on security for those applications. We'll look at what that means in a minute. And if you want to save this to use later, this profile, you can do that. But for now, we're just going to generate security, which is going to generate all the security applications. And then we can go ahead and generate all the source code for those applications and the changes that were written in the other applications. So go ahead and do that. That's going to take just a second here to generate all of them. And here we go. So they're all generated here. And then we can go ahead and open our project up again. And you're going to notice a few things as we open up this project now. We're going to see that there's a new folder here and a new folder, and this is going to be called security. We're already in this folder here by default. So security folder. And then we have all these applications that were created with that prefix that we set when we created the applications. Let's go ahead and open login. So login is going to be the root access point for our project now. So this is where users can log in. And as you can see, we're using that template there. We're going to look more at that in the next video. But for now, let's go ahead and run this and log into our system. This is pretty much set up and ready to log in. We just need to add our group. So we're going to log in with our administrator credentials, and then we can start creating new users. So let me make sure I get the username and password correct for that. Go ahead and click sign in. And then wait for that to load here. And as you can see, our menu is loading just like before. So now we're all authenticated to the system. And as you can see, there's a new main menu option here, security. So if you look up here at the top, there's security, and there's all those security applications automatically added to our menu. So let's go through and look at these. So the first one here is users, and that's going to be all of our users that we have in the system. So we can add more of those, but first we need to add some groups to add those users as well, which we'll do in a second. But if you click add new, it's going to pop up a form to add them, or you can edit users. And we can add groups here with the groups screen here. So there's all the groups. So right now, just admin and group default. And then we can link groups to users here with the groups users application. So that way we can see what users are in what groups, just a grid application here. And then you can edit those if you want. And then we can link application permissions to our groups with the groups applications application here. So we select our group. And here's all the permissions for these. So as you can see, it has all the applications and then the permissions: access, insert, delete, update, export, and print for all of the applications in our system here. So as you can see, it's already included them in the security system and set the permissions for our administrator user. You can also search for those as well. And if you need to add new applications, you need to go to sync applications. So anytime you create an application after adding the security module, you need to go here and synchronize it into the security module so that it's on this list right here. So as you can see, that's how you sync applications there. Then you can change your password or log off. We're going to add those options for all of our users so that they can change their password and also log out of the system, which is just going to kick them back to the login screen. So now that the application is all set up with this security module, we can start adding new groups. So remember, we had 3 groups. And we're going to start here first with our admin group, our inventory administration group. So that's inserted successfully, as you can see. Now we're going to add our sales group. So just name that sales like so. Go ahead and click add on that. And you can also exit here, but let me click add if you want to exit out of this module. And then you can go ahead and do the next one, which is going to be management. Spell it like so, and then go ahead and click add on that. And then once we're done with that, we can go ahead and exit out of that modal there. So admin's a little confusing since we have an administrator group. So I'm going to change that to inventory admin here. So let me go ahead and click edit on that. And you can edit that group name right like so without any issues. So inventory admin like so. Go ahead and click save on that. And now we can set up our permissions for those. So now that those are created, we can go over to our groups users if you want to link them together and see what groups are in there. So you can see all the groups there. But for now, we're going to go to groups applications, and we're going to go and set our permissions for those. So let's go ahead and reload groups applications right here. And let's start with our inventory admin group here. And there's all of our groups. So we're going to select inventory admin, click OK. and decide which options need to be added there for that. So we need the change password and logout options for everyone. So we're going to go ahead and add the login page and the change password application, which is up here towards the top. So let me check that, and let's see if there's any other on this page that need to be updated. We need access to the sales calendar, and that should be about it for this page. So go ahead and hit save on those, and then we can go on to the next page to select which application should be added to that. So we could search for specific ones, or we can just go page by page. And so a lot of these applications we do need access to for the inventory admin person. So we can go ahead and do select all of them, but let's add the dashboard since that's needed for the menu to load properly. And let's go ahead and hit select all, and then we can unselect the ones we don't want here actually. So we don't want access to the sales applications down here at the bottom, so we can uncheck them if we want. So uncheck the ones here for inputting sales, since the inventory admin, the warehouse manager, doesn't need to do that. But the rest of these should be good, so go ahead and hit save for those. And then let's go on to our third page of applications here to see what they need. So he does need access to the menu for the inventory administrator here, and the PDF report here, but not the sales intro. So go ahead and hit save on that. So now everything's set up for our inventory admin. So let's go back to groups applications and go on to the sales group here, right down here. So sales, choose that group and click OK. So now we're going to walk through the same process to control the applications they have access to. So they need access to the login application and the calendar for sales. Go ahead and click save on that. Go on to the next page. And they don't need access to a lot of these applications. They do need access to the grids for the inventory control, but not the forms. They just need to be able to see the data, so not the forms where they could edit the data. But we could control access to the forms so that they couldn't save anything on there. They also need access to the dashboards, and that should be it for them. So the sales applications, grids, and the dashboard. Go ahead and hit save on that. Go on to the next page. So they need to input sales there, they need the menu, and they need the sales intro application as well down here at the bottom. That should be pretty much everything they need access to. So go ahead and hit save on that last page, and then we can set access for our last group. So let's go on to groups applications again, and now set access for our management group. So change the group to management here, and go ahead and click OK, right like so. And we need the login application and the change password application just like before, and also the sales calendar application right here. Once that is all set up, we can go ahead and hit save selected on those and go on to the next page. So pretty much all of these they're going to need access to, so we can go ahead and hit select all and then turn off. So we do need access to the charts and the dashboard, as well as the forms, but not the forms for the support application. So category, genre, and media they do not need access to for management. And we could turn off different permissions for those if we wanted to. But for now, we're going to leave it as is. So form recordings is good, sheet music, the grids for those. We do not need access to the sales applications here. So we can turn off access for those and then go ahead and hit save selected on those as well. So that's everything for that page. Now move on to the third and final page here. Turn on the menu applications and the PDF reports, and that should be good. No sales applications for that. So now we've got all the permissions set up for all of our groups. Now we can go ahead and add users. So we go over here to the users applications and go ahead and add new. So we're going to add our warehouse manager, since that's our first user that's going to have access to this. So type in a password for that, and Jay will be able to change his password later. Type in the name for him, username, and the email. So jsmith at gms.com here. Make sure I get the email right. And yes, he is an active user. If it's inactive, then they won't be able to log in. And then add him here to the inventory admin group, right like so. And then click add, and Jay should be able to log into the application here, as we can see. So you could walk through this for all of your users in your organization, but for now we're just going to add Jay, and then we're going to log out and log in as Jay. So type in Jay's username, Jay, and then the password we created for Jay. so we can test this. Once that is done, we can click sign in, and there we go. So now we have access, and as you can see, some of these applications are grayed out since they don't have access to those applications. But the ones that they have access to, they do have right there. So that's how you create users in groups in Scriptcase and then get it all set up to control the permissions for that. So it's very easy, very simple. So there's all those security applications that have been added, and you can look through more of those to see what they do. And as you can see, if we try to load this menu, it's not going to work. And that's because if we go to security on the menu, the security has been enabled by the security module. So if we try to run this without logging in, we're not going to be able to. So let's try and run that and go there. And as you can see, it's telling us we're an unauthorized user. So you have to log in first on all of those applications before you can access them. So that's how the security module works in Scriptcase. It's very easy to use and provides a lot of power for us.